At the time when I embraced hip hop and graffiti art, I was very, very, very conservative, really conservative. It just took over my mind. That's the only way I can put it. You know, I had a extended family, a whole crew, you know, and now all of a sudden you become popular.
Before I even knew what it was to be an artist, drawing was just one of those things that I always loved doing. Capturing the world around me from pencil to paper always allowed me to feel like I had the most control in my life. And it was always something I could do to make me feel close to my dad. With my pencil, I tallied the days until summer when I could just get a little bit of time with him. Without a care in the world, we would let the hands of time go by, sketching anything and everything that came to our head, always leaving a trail of graphite on our palms. For someone who I would only see on occasion, the spirit of my father has always been a constant in my life, or at least the idea. Throughout all puzzles I encountered, I had to learn by watching from afar and forced to put the pieces together myself. During my freshman year of college in 2018, my dad was living in Hawaii at the time. Him moving there wasn't that big of a deal because to me, it was him just being farther away than he already was. I never got a chance to visit him out there. But that year we all came together to celebrate my sister's quinceañera. On that trip, I had the honor of following in the tradition of my older brother before me and getting a traditional Polynesian-style leg tattoo done by my father. This tattoo holds significance because young men in various Polynesian cultures receive this tattoo as a coming of age as they step into manhood. The thing is, he would only be able to finish one session on my leg. This is because 5 months later, he would meet his sudden and ultimate demise. 4 years later, I'm now a senior in college, and I'm still in disbelief. Admittedly, when he passed, I felt a part of myself lost. I hit a major low, feeling completely helpless and worthless within my abilities without him. Watching him follow his dreams always gave me inspiration, and I was just trying to follow in his footsteps. But now that he's gone, I'm not sure what path my steps will take me. I know he always wanted me to be out there with him to finish my leg tattoo and to see the world as he was able to and carry on the legacy. But carrying on a legacy is way more than simply bearing a symbol. What does it truly mean to carry on a legacy? How was he able to figure it out? And why in Hawaii? So on this trip of discovery and reconnection, I dedicate this to my father. This journey would not have been possible without one very important person. Friend, teacher, and legendary piercer, Julian Ganesha. On the first day on the island, Julian takes me to Kukui Tattoo Shop, the shop that my father worked at and helped build. While en route towards the journey much awaited, I already feel a strange yet familiar anxiety creeping within me. The anticipation and pressure of first impressions always leaves me nervous like it's the first day of school, especially being a son of Pedro. Luckily though, with the imprint he etched on this planet and the people he touched, my father left enough behind for me to fill in the gaps so my life wouldn't be a mystery. I wanted to mainly talk about the early days of the construction of the shop.
So it was we were actually looking at the building next door upstairs. It needed a lot of work. I wasn't sold on this spot, but your dad was. He's like, "No, dude, this is cool. We can make this work." And
right.
And the rent was cheap. It was like $900 a month, and that's
Whoa.
super cheap. My place down the street was $2,400. So I was like, "Dang, it's a half a block away, and it's less than half the price." Once we got the wall stripped, there was huge cracks, and so we had to fill it in with drywall mud, and we had a guy helping us do stuff, but he was just a major construction part of the stuff. He built the pony walls and shit like that, put the window in for us. So it was really on us to do all that other background stuff.
Because he got a distinct smell.
Yeah, still smells like him in there.
Oh yeah. It's like what all of his apartments have smelled like.
Yeah.
Kamu?
Kaya.
Okay.
Kaya Kamu.
Nice.
Yeah,
Cool.
nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too, man.
Yeah. I'm excited for you on Thursday, dude.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Because I just tattooed your grandma right over here.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm still good for like 10 and everything. Too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. I mixed up some people, so it's kind of like.
Yeah. No worries.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is an incredibly exciting experience for me.
Yeah, I recognized his leg in the middle and the shoes that he always used.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's Pedro right over there.
Exactly.
And then like the other side, he's got like the bicycle. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's him.
The waves for the diver, turtle scales
Yeah.
for protection,
Uh-huh.
the symbol for strength, that's the old Polynesian symbol, and then the arrowheads, again, for warrior. I wanted it to all migrate. I wanted it to eventually, because at first I was like a panel, and then the more I was like, dude, let's just have at it.
Go, yeah.
And then when it was all said and done, I was like, I guess I am done.
Yeah.
That was my man.
Right.
I couldn't.
He did this out on my leg when I would turn 18. You know, that was like the rite of passage tattoo. It's the only one I got still. Like, he talked it up literally like most of my life. I got it when I was 18, and like shortly after that when I was 19, it's like he passed like, that's September when I was 19. So it's like I was never able to get the first session. I was like telling Logan before that like this right here is like probably like the closest that I'm really gonna get to like being able to like visit him again and like being like in his like presence and energy, because like just like the way that like the people are out here, like, and everything that they're saying about him, and it was like, oh yeah, that's how he was. It truly amazes me just how many people loved him and how many people's lives he had an impact on. Sometimes I forget that and it amazes me, but sometimes I remember, and it makes me envious of those who I deem got more from my father than I did. Despite these feelings, I always had admiration for him. When I'm sailing against the weight of the waves of the world, I navigate with a shattered telescope and broken compass. But when these sinking emotions arise, I recall the lesson my dad taught me on the first time we went boogie boarding together. After several frustrating attempts to coast along the water, a giant wave struck me down and I started spiraling uncontrollably. Just when I started to lose hope within my abilities of floating, my dad lifts me up from beneath. As I collect my breath, the first thing that he tells me is, "Dude, always remember, the water is your friend." Now, as a child, the simplicity of that statement made all the sense in the world to me. It is up to me to regain that childlike essence and understanding. Never lose the child within.
All right, well, it all started, I want to say, like probably 5 weeks before he died. So he goes to the hospital because he's having trouble breathing. And when they got there, they did the CAT scan and found out that he had DVT, deep vein thrombosis, so a blood clot in one of his legs. And he leaves and comes back with his clipboard, and he goes, "Yeah, it looks like he says you got some kind of a cancer, Mr. Balugo. There's cancer cells in the fluid that we withdrew. We're going to make an appointment with you for an oncologist, with an oncologist." So that was, let's say 2 weeks before his death. And he was home for a while. He wasn't coming to work at all. As far as I knew, we didn't know what was up. You know what I mean? I woke up to find out that he was in the hospital. And I went down there to see him in the morning, and it was probably like, 8 or 9 o'clock. And he just had a regular oxygen mask on, and his breathing was labored, like he couldn't, like he had just got done running, you know what I mean? It was a doctor and a nurse that came in and told me that the best course of action is that they were going to intubate him, put him induce a coma basically, and then be able to drain his lungs thoroughly, get him breathing again, right? And then they would, you know, he would be out of that in 24 to 48 hours. He would be back awake, and then they would have a plan of action for how they were going to approach this cancer situation. Probably like the last 3 hours or so I was there, 2 or 3 hours, he just wanted me to rub his feet. He said he was cold. He's like, my feet are freezing, my feet are cold, rub my feet. So the nurse comes in and she's like, oh, looks like your buddy's having trouble breathing. I was like, yeah. The nurse comes in and she's like, okay, we're gonna intubate your friend, and we're using propofol. She's like, yeah, that's the stuff that killed Michael Jackson, but we're gonna use it right today. That's what she said to me. It was callous. And the next day, when I was in the interview with the police, with your grandma, I told the police officer that. I told him about that conversation and that comment that she made. And he looked me straight in the eye and he goes, Mr. Martinez, I don't think that a medical care professional would make a statement like that. I said, what reason do I have to lie to you? That Ian knew, you know? Because he just didn't want her to worry. And I went over to him and I told him, I was like, look, man, I'm gonna be here when you wake up. Jamad's gonna be here, Fave's gonna be here, your mom's gonna be here, we're all gonna be here when you wake up, and we're gonna get through this. And that was the last thing I said to him. I told him I loved him, touched his hands, and I had to walk out. And I got this other call from my friend's wife, who's an ER nurse, and she's like, you better get down here. I was like, what's going on? She's like, your friend is already coded like 6 or 7 times, meaning that he already died 6 or 7 times, and they had brought his heart back a bunch of times. She's like, you got to get down here if you want to say goodbye. And this blonde doctor, she's like, she goes, his mom wants me to keep going, but he's gone, he's dead. She says keep trying, but there's no more trying, so I'm calling it. And that's it. She called it time of death. They turned off the machine that was pumping, and then seriously, in like 30 seconds, everybody left the room. And I just had to walk out, and as I was walking out, I was saying, you fuckers failed him. You failed.
Hey son, how you doing, man? Just reaching out to you.
I'm doing good. Great to hear from you.
Happy New Year.
Yeah, no, happy New Year to you as well. I'm sorry I missed your call before. I've just been super busy working on this one project. Been having me super duper stressed lately.
Gonna do it, brother. I know it.
You mean that?
I really do. I'm not just saying that. I feel this is going to be a big change for you and advancement. So put your seatbelt on.
Consider me locked in.
All right, baby boy. I love you, son.
I love you too.
Talk to you later. Bye.
Most often we were apart. To see was a rarity. Perceived a view I could not do, I did not have the clarity. Believed that without you, I never gained the right components. Like warring planets, space between us became my main opponent. Held on to moments we were given, in my heart I would protect. Bad omens were the driven force to this feeling of neglect. Days of dodging catch-up calls from you I would regret. Fights with mirror men to prove I know how to reflect. The aspects of you I would detect, conforming thoughts I would reject. Learn to tread the waters, the ripple effects of waves you created. All of my days I spent so frustrated being in a place with you I awaited, but was disappointed with the imaginations of you that I had created. Erased all the expectations, felt betrayed but left in amazement, because looking back, now I realize just all the ways that you were paving.
And we had talked about it, and he was like, man, it'd be so cool to one day like be buried here. And he was like, will you spread my ashes, here? And I was like, fuck yeah. It was cool. It was really like euphoric experience actually. Like I did like a small like offering to the ocean to like, give his ashes, and it was cool. It was really like spiritual, and I got to connect, I think, with him and just like Hawaii. It's like I really understood like why he was there.
But he was pretty much a man of his word. I mean, he would, even as a teenager, if he said he was going to do something, by hook or by crook, he did. He was saying, Mom, I can make a lot of money in Hawaii, and I was thinking about moving there. What do you think I should do? I said, take your ass to Hawaii, where the money is, boy. I was all for it. If he knew what he wanted, and that was fine. I wanted him to be happy. I just wanted him to be happy. Yeah, that was my baby boy.
In the mid and early 80s, LA was pretty rough scene to be, young black men, young black teenagers growing up in the area we grew up. We saw a lot of that, and we believe it or not, we're both had the potential to go down those wrong paths, and be in that life. And both of us, independent of each other at the time, before we even knew each other, decided that's not the route I wanted to go. And when the two of us met, it was like, okay, I see somebody that sees what I see, and yeah, there's other things besides that.
He was a really big family man. Like whether it was like him moving to Hawaii, like he would always like make sure he would like keep up with all of the like traditions that we do, no matter how like difficult it could be. With Dad, he was like really big on just doing what makes you like truly happy, and not like what society deems as like happy or perfect.
We started having these rides, and so off the jump, Black Kids on Bikes, aka the Freedom Ride, your father was like, yo, I need to be a part of that. Every month, PJ would show up with like new people. He just felt like, oh, this is what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to bring up the Black people and like-minded folks over here to go ride these bikes and get healthy.
feel really honored to be his sister. You know what I mean? Like Pedro always kept me, like I said, he was able to decipher a lot of stuff for me spiritually that I would see and deal with and go through, and just thinking like, okay, what would Pedro say? You know what I mean? Like, what did he see in that? And then not stressing and then realizing the universe provides. Don't ever let anybody tell you who you should be or box you in, you know? And that's another thing about your dad, is no one could box that man in. He never allowed anything. He always stayed true to himself. And it may not be conventional, you know, and it may not be what we think is the right thing to do, but he was happy.